Hello, it's me, Jessica Weber, and today I decided to do a personal video. I wanted to start 2019 off properly with a really cute kind of video, and today my video will be about my story with K-pop and how K-pop has changed my life. So this picture is from 2008 and this vacation was when I first discovered K-pop. So I don't know if it was like this for all of the nation, but at the time in my city the song Nobody by Wonder Girls was really popular. And so this was a song that made me discover K-pop. So this is my cousin, and the reason I'm putting this in here is because at the time I wasn't that very good at Filipino and she couldn't speak English, so the only thing we used to do was sit together and sing that song together, and that's just how we bonded. And even though we couldn't speak English together, we would always just sing this song together and just dance like idiots, and I have a really fond memory of that. So when I came back to England, the first thing I did was obviously I searched up the Wonder Girls Nobody on YouTube, and I was watching that, and I remember the music video that made me discover SNSD was Kissing You. And as soon as I saw Taeyeon, I was just like, you know what, that's my idol, and I knew that she was just gonna be someone very special to me. So SNSD are really what made me become a K-pop fan, and during this time we actually moved to Scotland and I had to go to a new school, and it was so scary for me. It's scary for anyone who moves to a new school, you don't know anyone, and Girls' Generation's music just really helped me through that, because for me listening to music just really helped me relax. So when I would get home, I would just listen to music and I'd be like, okay, we're settling in, and I would just contemplate everything while I would listen to Girls' Generation, and I have fond memories of that too. So while I did make friends while I lived in Scotland, it was really difficult for me because we lived in a rural area, and I was the only one who was just even half Asian. There was no Asians in my school. There was no one who I could really relate to. I was the only one who was into K-pop. I liked anime as well at the time, of course, because I was a weeb. But it was really difficult for me because I would always get asked stupid questions by stupid white people. Say, are you from Philadelphia? It's you know. So even though I did have friends who I love and I still keep in touch with today, they will probably agree with me when I say that that town was the most white trash town ever. It was just full of ignorant people, and I was almost ashamed to say that I was half Filipino just because of how ignorant people were and just how stupid people were. I would constantly just get made fun of for liking anime or K-pop and weeb shit or whatever, and it got to a point where I was actually trying to pretend to be someone I'm not, just so people wouldn't stop talking about my half Asianness, if that makes sense. But that changed when I moved. So in 2012 I moved to a city called Newcastle and to a new school. This school was automatically better than my previous school because there were other people who liked K-pop, there were other people who were Asian, there were people who were black, there were basically it wasn't just full of white people, it wasn't full of ignorant white people is what I'm saying. So I was 12 when EXO debuted, and me and my friend in this new school, we became best friends over EXO. We bonded over EXO. So I'll always have fond memories of EXO helping me get friends. But also I just remember when I first saw EXO, when I first watched their music video, I was like, who the fuck are these men wearing shiny clothing and why am I in love with them? So before EXO and BAP debuted, I only really cared about SNSD and sometimes Big Bang in 21, but I'd say EXO really got me hooked into the fandom, while SNSD made me a K-pop fan. EXO made me want to be so much more involved with the fandom, and I just felt, I don't even know guys if I'm explaining this well, but EXO just threw me into the pit deeper. Also, fun fact, Dio was my bias for ages until I got to learn their personalities, and then it was Baekhyun. I'm sorry Dio, but Baekhyun's not my type. Love you though. So I ended up falling out with loads of the K-pop fans over a stupid teenage girl fight. I don't remember what it was about, but I ended up hanging out with just these girls, and some people would call them the popular girls. I think that's just a stupid term. I think popular girls is so demeaning and stupid. It's kind of, I don't know, but they were just your average kind of girl in high school, you know. We would go out, would meet boys, sometimes would drink and just stuff like that, and they were just so lovely and nice, and I'll always have fond memories of them because even though they weren't into K-pop, they would sometimes listen to it or they would tease me about it in a non-malicious way. So things started kind of going downhill for me. As you can see here, I spent a little bit of time in the Philippines and I did attend school there for a bit. At first, I really loved being in Philippines because loads of people knew K-pop, loads of people were K-pop fans, and I felt like I could fit in. But yeah, no. So going to Philippines when you're 8 or 9 is a bit different when you're 14 and 15. For a little bit of context, the city I live in is called San Pablo. There isn't very many tourist attractions and there's not much to do there, so they don't really have many foreigners there. So what I didn't realize would happen is that people kind of treated me like I was an object. Because I was probably the first and the only white person that people have seen there, it got to a point where I actually couldn't wear shorts in the city anymore. I could only wear them in my barangay. People shout at me from across the street and speak English to me, or people shout at me in Filipino and think I don't understand, or people try and touch me up, and people try and talk to me and they try and touch my hair, they try and touch my legs. And it's even gotten to the point where my grandma's literally kicked someone in the stomach because they were harassing me. But you know who kept me through it all? Magical lady Kim Taeyeon. Even though I love getting attention, it was just not the type of attention I wanted. Like when I would go into my local supermarket, all of the employees would be like, "Hi Jessica," and I literally don't even know them. And this was like this in McDonald's and Jollibee. Everyone would come up to me and be like, "Hi Jessica," and I would just not have any idea who they were. So I've given you guys a general idea of what the public were like to me. Now just try and put that in a school setting. It was really uncomfortable being in school because I was not really treated the same as the other kids. But I actually met one of my first boyfriends there. Now, I'm not going to say his name because I just don't want to, but this is kind of where things became downhill for me. This boyfriend was really toxic at the time. He cheated on me and he hit me, and I thought it was my fault. And because of all of this stuff that happened to me while I was in Philippines, you know, getting just abused by this boyfriend and getting harassed by the general public, it really put a damper on my mental health. And there was times where I wanted to just end it all, and it's just yeah. And this boyfriend at the time, he actually made me stop talking to my friend. The main one was Candace, who you guys have seen in a video before. So I didn't even have any friends to talk to about how he was treating me. So of course you guys can imagine what I did. The only people I had left for me was Taeyeon and Baekhyun. Now, aside from having a douchey boyfriend, obviously beauty standards in Asia are a lot different to Western standards. So when I did travel all the way to Asia and get told I was fat constantly, it really did stuff to me. And I would literally just cry about my boyfriend and cry about being fat, and then I would blame this all on myself while I was just crying my eyes out listening to one of Taeyeon's OSTs. So the more and more time went on, my mental health started getting worse and I started throwing up a lot, and I was losing weight really rapidly and throwing up and losing weight, and I was really unhealthy. Cut to when we moved back to England, the damage has already been done, if that makes sense. I wish I could say things got better for me when I came back to England, but honestly that would be a bit of a lie. When I came back to England, my parents, they just lied to me all the time, and every time I would have a panic attack or an episode, they would threaten me and say they're going to call the police on me and all that kind of stuff. I can't really go into full detail about how I was treating these past few years, but I'm sure you guys can imagine. Now, I know some of you guys might be like, well, what does your mental health have to do with K-pop? And I'm getting to that, okay? Jeez, you guys are so But whenever I had a panic attack, or whenever I was throwing up, or if I was sick, or all that kind of stupid stuff, you know, you guys obviously can imagine what I did. I just put Taeyeon on and I just had a good cry until I was all out of tears, and I would eventually stop crying because of Taeyeon, and I would feel calm just watching her perform, or watching a variety show, watching Weekly Idol with EXO on it. I would just constantly use K-pop to distract myself from all of the stuff that was going on in my head. So aside from helping me mentally, I've actually met some of the most important people in my life because of K-pop. I can't say that I keep in contact with all of the people I met because of K-pop, but there were just so many people who are important to me that I met through K-pop, and I'm going to tell you about them. So here I've put up loads of pictures of people who are either in my life or not in my life anymore. Some of these people I don't talk to anymore because we're just not in each other's lives anymore, but they were all really important to me at one point, and it was all thank you to K-pop. And even if I'm not in contact with these people anymore, it's still really like, just like, I don't know, I always hold on to the good memories. And aside from letting go loads of people, I also met like one of my best friends this year called James, and we're basically Team Rocket. And together with James, we met even more friends who were into K-pop. We made like this group chat, and these people in the group chat are like really important to me now. You know, we have Lana, Sydney, Layla, so many people I could mention, but I don't know if they'll get mad at me for mentioning them in a video, so I'm just gonna leave it at those three. But you know who you are, and I love you all. But yeah guys, thanks to K-pop, I've met some of like the most amazing people in my life. I met James, I met Edwin, and I became closer with Candice. I met Alana, I met Sydney, I met Layla, I met and basically what I'm trying to say is just K-pop just brings people together, and isn't that just like so amazing? I'm gonna like quit rambling now. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I don't really know if this video is gonna do well because it's about me and not K-pop idol, but I don't know. But I would love to hear like your stories about K-pop, how you got into it, if you've made friends or if you're looking for friends. I don't know, I just love to hear people's stories of K-pop, so please do tell me yours as well because I'd love to hear it. And I'm gonna go now. It was nice speaking to you guys. Love you. Annyeong.